Today, we are going to talk about how narcissists groom their victims to accept abuse. Many people go, well, how does this happen? Especially when your friends and family and relatives are like, sorry, got a cold, are questioning how did they're so strong. How did they become controlled? How did this happen? It's not some magic wand that gets waved over you. It is a grooming process. And I'm going to talk about that today. My name is Tracy Malone. I'm a narcissist abuse coach and the founder of narcissistabusesupport.com, one of the leading websites for understanding what happened. So let's talk about how they groom us and why we need to be really aware of this because it feels so good when you're being groomed. You are just the most special, happy person you've ever seen. And the narcissist is using this to establish control, to normalize abuse, right? It starts with that layer. You know it. Love bombing. Yes, the foundation of trust. This is why they are coming on so strong with so many compliments, so much affection. And I just want to share a little part about my ex-husband and the love bombing that I experienced. I was going through a divorce with my first husband when I met husband number two, and I was love bombed. I am talking crazy love bombed, ridiculous, stupid love bombed. And I was confused. I was going through a divorce and this was just a friend of mine through work. And I'm like, what? And it was so intense. It was hard to resist when you were low, like going through a divorce, for someone to be sitting here showering you with so much love and even the love bombing to my child. One of the reasons I was getting a divorce from my first husband was he didn't really wasn't active in his child's life. And I thought that wasn't okay. And I was doing it all, so I might as well do it by myself, right? And then new daddy comes along and he love bombed both of us. By love bombing my child, when he eventually met him, he didn't meet him right away, but when he eventually met him, he gave him like a really expensive Halloween party and took care of him and did things to make his friends think he was cool. And I was like, oh, someone loves my child. That was him hooking my heart through my child. So love bombing can work not only through you, but through your children. So you really need to understand why it's so dangerous because it creates this bond between you that you become emotionally invested in needing their validation and attention. Now they've got you hooked, and now the next stage starts, which you've probably all seen, which is mirroring, right? This is where you like dogs with three legs and one blue eye. Oh, so do they, right? It's amazing how every single thing that you like is thrown back at you. You like to ski, and they're, oh, I like to ski too. And you're like, I found my soulmate. I found someone that also likes to ski and do something else that is what you love to do. It's odd that someone would have the same exact likes, the same exact thing. So I tell my clients when they're going out to date again and someone is mirroring everything that they love, the three-legged dog with one blue eye, I tell them, ask them more questions. Did you have a three-legged dog with one eye? More makes more sense to hear something like you like skiing and they like skiing, and you're going, oh my God, we found our perfect soulmate. But you just took them for their word. You don't know if their word is good yet. So when someone is love bombing you and trying to mirror whatever you like, you must ask more questions. Don't be fooled by this tactic again. They say they like skiing. Well, what's your favorite mountain? How often do you go? What trails do you like to go on? Do you go for the whole day? What do you stay up there? What is it? Really get to pick at what they're saying and don't trust them. If they are mirroring something back, ask more questions. And maybe they are a perfect fit. Maybe they're not a narcissist. I'm just saying a narcissist is going to mirror everything and make it into where, you are the perfect match for them. It's a trap because it sets the stage for larger abuses. Once you are sitting here and everything is all coming here, they begin to mold you into what they like. Right? The next one and the next point that I want to bring up is they groom you by testing your boundaries. small little acts of disrespect, right? Um, Testing your boundaries, maybe little things like small criticisms or kind of dismissive comments, and you're like, well, that was weird, right? These are tiny little disrespect things. You must pay attention to them because they're often overlooked as abuse. It's sort of like, oh, they're having a bad day. Or if they've made some kind of comment or subtle criticism, then the love bomb, you respond to it like you're hurt. The love bombing starts. Again, red flag. We need to look at these things, and nobody should be disrespecting you or making criticisms of you, but it's the boundaries that they promise to do something, testing their integrity. If you think about it, setting a boundary is, hey, I made dinner, it's going to be at 7, come and that's when we're meeting, right? So setting that boundary, and then if them disrespecting it, you're keeping score. You need to remember that they don't show up on time when you give them a time, right? The next thing that they do to groom their victims to accept abuse is gaslighting. Everyone's like gaslighting, 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 right? It's just a word, it's just a thing, but it's a favorite tool of narcissists because it gets you to deny reality, and they twist the truth and they plant in doubts. And over time, the victim really starts to question their own judgment. And it's confusing and it is disorienting, and it makes you more likely to not trust your own instincts, right? If you think about it, everything's like, this is blue. No, it's not. Oh, yeah, it's blue. And you've got to kind of go along with it. That was a dumb example, but you get the idea. The other thing is intermittent reinforcement, which you've heard of, right? And it's the push-pull dynamic where, one day they're wonderful and the next day they're kind of an idiot. And so you're sitting there and you're going back and forth, friend, and you're making excuses, you're bargaining on the bad days and going, oh, I can justify this. They had a long week, they're tired, they're da 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 da, right? All of that. But the intermittent reinforcement that they're doing is pulling you in and out of good and crazy. How does Tracy take good and crazy? Does she tolerate it? Does she, they're evaluating you on every single thing, right? It becomes a psychological addiction to the person. And the victim works really hard to get back to the good part with the narcissist. They're like, oh, we gotta fix that. I'll try harder. This is all part of the game. If they pull away and you try harder, they're setting up a pattern for control. The next thing that they do is cutting off support. You've heard of this one as well. Anybody that could tell you, hey, that doesn't sound right, or that's not normal, is what they're going to try to cut off. Your friends, your family, anyone that could potentially tell them what's happening to them isn't normal. That's when they're going to cut all that off, right? The trap of that is that you get no external validation. It cuts you off. And so all you have left is the narcissist's like dialogue, and everything is just distorted and you're very confused. That's how you slowly get into this control position and accepting abuse, right? Then we have the last one, which is normalizing abuse, right? If they normalize the abuse and sort of excuse it away, I was tired, I cranky, I had a bad day at work, um, it breaks down the victim to accept this manipulation, and it keeps the victim in self-doubt and shame, if you would, right? Conditioning and accepting of this abuse is the beginning of the end. So when they are grooming someone to take abuse, it is not just one thing. It's not love bombing. It's all of the different steps. And as they work through these steps, they're seeing how controllable you are. Remember that them not listening to boundaries could be that you didn't set a boundary, right? If you set a boundary and they didn't show up when they said they would, then we can complain, but they're going to keep on pushing you and trying to convince you that they are the best thing since sliced bread. They are your soulmate. They are all you need in the world because together, the two of you can live this happy life, and, all your cares will be gone. And as you go into that trap, they change everything about them changes. The love bombing stops. It just becomes only if you got mad at them and they have to win you back, and that sort of intermittent, that's where it comes back in. It doesn't come back again, right? Once you're hooked, you're hooked. And so the narcissist is going to try to trap you to accept this kind of abuse. I hope understanding these stages helps you understand if you have a friend who's being abused and don't understand why are they taking this stuff. It's not just it's not as easy and obvious as you're thinking it is, right? There's so much more going on behind the scenes that's manipulating your friend's brain or your brain, right? So again, this is Tracy Malone. I hope that you like this video. It's a short one. Please hit a like, please leave a comment, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. And I will see you on the next video. Thank you.